So, in the case of literature view, we are mainly focusing on what is the importance of literature review, how literature review will be helpful in conducting a good research. Now, during a literature review, normally we will be coming across certain areas where we feel that there is more need to study, where it is not sufficient studies have not been conducted. Such areas where we feel that there is lack of study, there is more need to study, or can be called as gap area, and these are known as a research gap. So, how we can identify a research gap? That is what we will be discussing today. Now, one importance of the research identifying gap areas during the literature review is crucial for advancing research. The main purpose of studying the previous literature is to know what all things are known in that area. You are studying about birds, you are studying about mammals. Then you have to know what all things the people have studied about the mammals of Kerala, what remains to be studied. So that what remains to be studied is coming actually as a part of gap. So a lot of things are known about the mammals of Kerala, but still certain areas, for example, recently there is a lot of wild man and wildlife conflict, and that is increasing this year, and maybe in coming year it may also increase. But if you go back to 2-3 years back, there was no such incidents of elephants coming out of the forest and attacking people. Why this is increasing in recent years? There should be some reason, and that reason is and going into that reason may be a research gap. So we don't know why the elephants are coming out recently and attacking people in their villages, especially in the forest areas. There should be some reason. So that is a research gap. So because we don't know. So identifying gap areas during literature review is important for advancing the research. These gaps reveal unexplored. Unexplored means nothing has been known there. Nobody has conducted any study there. Or underexplored. Underexplored means some studies have been conducted, but very little is known. So that is why either it is not studied or slightly studied. So helping to pinpoint topics that need further investigation. So only when we know what is known, what has been studied, then only we will be able to find out what we can do in that area. What is the possibility of doing more, conducting more studies in that area. So those things will be coming under the research gap. Then under how we can understand how we can find out the research gap. That is our main objective of this. How we can identify a research gap. That is what this topic class is about. So first thing is to understand the research landscape. Understanding the research landscape means we are going to familiarize me with what all the concept, theories or methodology people are using in that part. For example, you are studying about birds. So what are the methods people, scientists have been using for studying the birds of Kerala or about birds of India. So all these methods you should study, and what are the concepts and theories the people have put forward regarding the various species and various habitat these birds are occurring. All these you should be thorough. So only then you will be able to understand what is the possibility of studying something new. So research area, analyzing the research area, understanding the research area is a very important thing in finding out the research gap. The foundational knowledge provides context for dictating what is missing. So if we know everything about what is known about mammals, what is known about birds, what is known about butterflies or lizards, then you will be able to tell something that this area has not been studied properly. So that is a research gap. So how we can start. So foundational knowledge provide context for dictating what is missing. Normally start broader, then narrow down. Start broad, then narrow down means you start. For example, you are studying about birds. Study about all the bird species present in different areas of Kerala. Then you focus on Kottayam district. Then in Kottayam district, you can again focus on one particular taluk. Then you will be able to study. So from this taluk, from Meenachil taluk, only 50 species of birds have been discovered, and these are the 50 species of birds. But from another taluk in Ernakulam district or from Pathanamthitta district of a similar size, they have some 100 species of birds that have been reported. So that is a possibility. That means that the people who have studied the bird diversity of Meenachil taluk may not have studied properly, or that could be one reason, or there should be some other reason for the decreased presence of species diversity of birds in Meenachil taluk. So that is a research gap. So that is why we are first starting in a broader view, maybe from state level, from national level, then come to state level, then come to district level, then again come to taluk level. You can again go down. So this is known as a narrowing down. Then map key areas, categorize existing literature into themes or topic. For example, if you are studying about birds, lot of studies, lot of papers, lot of works you may come across. Some may be studying about the migration of the birds. So that is one topic. Some may be studying about the habitat diversity of birds, that is, or ecology of birds. That is another area. Some may be studying about the behavior of birds. So this is another area. So these are all research topics. So when you come analyze the research previous literature, categorize whatever literature you are coming across into specific topics, maybe migration, maybe distribution, maybe physiology, maybe anatomy, maybe about species diversity, ecology. So from that you will be able to pinpoint. So in this area there are certain possibilities. So this is what is called then next is analyze the literature thoroughly. So read systematically. Sometimes you have to read the problem again and again. The same paper you have to read several times. Same book you have to read several times. So read systematically. Focus on the recent research. What are the things which have been found out in recent area? So that is very important. Recent research is always very important. Otherwise, what will happen is that when you have started your search after 2-3 years, you may be knowing that this work has been already conducted by someone in some other part, maybe from Kerala University or maybe from Calicut University. Then all your time may be wasted. So it is very important that you will have to study what all people are working in that area, what are their contribution, and in what area they are working. All these you should study very thoroughly before starting the research. So read systematically, focus on recent research. That is a very important aspect. Examine, understand the important papers in that area, understand the foundational theory and the limitation. What are the major works and what are the limitations of that work. Then scrutinize section where gaps are highlighted. Normally when we are publishing a research paper, there will be two sections. One is discussion and finally conclusion. These are usually 2 paragraphs. So normally in the discussion section, authors will be acknowledging their limitation during the study. So that limitation can be a research gap. And if that author has faced this limitation, that means there is a possibility. Similarly, conclusion, look for recommendation for further work. So normally during the last paragraph, most of the workers will say that I have studied this much and I couldn't study this. So there is a possibility that someone else in future can undertake a study like this. So that is a recommendation. That recommendation can be part of a research gap. Then study the contradictions and debates. Inconsistent finding. One person finds 50 birds, another species worker during the same time found 60 species, another found 35 species only. So this is that's inaccuracy or inconsistency. That inconsistency is a possibility for new research. So a lot of studies are there, but no study is clearly telling that how many species. There is a lot of confusion about that. So in order to remove the confusion, you can undertake a study. So that is the inconsistency. Debated topics, areas with ongoing disagreements often represent, for example, in some area there will be a lot of arguments. People say that this is the correct theory, and this is the wrong theory. So in such area, there is always possibility for conducting new research. Then, for example, in the use of Earth, for a long time people were telling that Earth was flat. Then some people start saying that Earth is spherical. So it is a lot of time arguments were there. Slowly, with the modern research, people are now established that Earth is spherical, though it appears to be flat, because Earth is very wide. So that is why it is very wide. Even if we are looking from a small area, the Earth may look flat because of our vision is very limited. Then look for outdated studies. Identify the research based on older technology or methodology that might need revisiting. For example, nowadays we have better equipments. More sophisticated microscopes are there, more sophisticated telescopes are there, measuring instruments are there, color analyzing machines are there, different types of computer systems are there. So some of the work which has been conducted in the previous years may have used certain older techniques or older methods. So based on the new research, we will be able to find out certain new things about every area. Then use systematic approaches, citation analysis, that is then bibliographic analysis, research database. So normally try citation in key paper to identify which topics are frequently cited. For example, when you are studying about bird, there are certain prominent authors are there, like Hindu Chudan. So and sometimes you can say Hindu Chudan in the year 1970 or in the year 1950. That kind of work, that is known as a citation. That citation you have to check whose works have been reported by other people several times. So certain works are important works. So those important works you have to study very thoroughly. For example, the work of Salim Ali. So these are all important work, and such important work has to be studied thoroughly. Then explore methodological gap, underutilized techniques. Identify areas where innovative or alternative methods have not been applied. There is one area, limited scope. Determine if studies are geographically, demographically, or temporarily restricted. For example, some people might have studied only about the birds in a low-lying area. They may not have gone to highlands of Kerala or highlands of Kottayam district. So that is a geographical restriction. So that is why when we analyze a research paper, we have to always understand whether their study is geographically limited, restricted, or demographically, that is in all they are studying only bird diversity where people are present, or certain type of people are present, more more accessible people are present, and they may not have gone to tribal areas of the Kottayam district. So or temporarily means time. They may have studied the bird diversity during summer season only. During the rainy season, they have not conducted any study. So there is a time restriction. So all these will be affecting our data on birds or data on butterflies or on mammals. Then cross-disciplinary connection. Sometimes gap exists at intersection of discipline. Look for opportunities to integrate knowledge or methods from other fields. For example, if you are studying about butterfly, there is closer connection between butterfly diversity and flower diversity. Most of the flowers are actually pollinated by butterflies. So if in an area there are a lot of butterflies are present, it is a sure indicator that in that area a lot of flowering plants should be there. In the absence of flowering plants, butterflies may not be able to survive. So this is known as a cross-disciplinary connection. You are studying about butterfly and you are coming about the plant species of this butterfly, then you will be going to botany. So this is a the interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary connections will be there. Then engage with the meta-analysis and review. Meta-analysis or systematic reviews are often summarized existing knowledge and highlight inconsistency. What is known about this species? What is known about this group of living organism, and what we do not know? All these will be coming under the meta-analysis, and what are the areas where data or information is very little or information is insufficient. So this is known as the meta-analysis and review. Then consult with the experts and stakeholders. So when you are going to study about something, normally you have to know who are the people who have been doing this work in Kerala or outside Kerala or outside India. All these you should have, and try to study their paper. If possible, go and meet them if you are going to undertake a major work. So they will be having a lot of things to share with you. Engage with the researchers, practitioners, industry experts to learn about the challenges and emerging needs in the field. For example, what are the difficulties they have experienced when they were undertaking a study like that. So they will be able to tell you something. I have been doing this for several years, but still I couldn't find anything. These are my problem. So if he or she is telling that this was his major problem, you can start thinking how I can overcome that problem. So that is a possibility for new research. Attend conferences, webinar to understand recent topics and overlooked issues. Because normally in these conferences, especially research conferences, they will be presenting a lot of work, and these works will be useful to understand what are the missing areas. So this is one important possibility of undertaking analyzing the research literature thoroughly. Then evaluate the emerging trends. Investing the trends in technology, policy, society that will be influencing your field. Use foresight analysis. So predict future needs and challenges. So this is one important quality of the researcher. They have a futuristic vision. Based on what is known, what has been studied in the past, most of the time scientists can predict because nowadays you can say that scientists are predicting that global warming will be taking place, the global temperature will be increasing. They will be saying that floods may be coming more prone. They will be saying that sea levels will be rising. So this is a futuristic prediction. They are predicting it based on their previous knowledge. So based on the previous knowledge, they analyze the data and they make they have prediction about the future challenges and future needs. What we should do if the sea level is rising. Then on 9th on the checklist for identifying the gaps, first there will be theoretical gaps, empirical gaps will be there, methodological gaps will be there, practical gaps will be. These are the three different types of gaps which are normally present. Theoretical gaps means gaps in theories. Empirical gaps means insufficient data may be known. And maybe only about data may be only limited to certain people or certain areas of Kerala or certain or during the certain times of time in the year. All these are empirical data. Methodological data. What are the methods they have been using? Like limitation with the tools, techniques, etc. And as well as experimental design. These are all different kinds of limitation or gaps in methodology. Then practical gaps. Are there unmet needs in real world application? For example, you are studying about birds and you are studying about butterfly, how they will be useful in the real world, how this information may be beneficial to the human society or to the world in a larger way. All these will be coming under the practical gaps. And finally, the documentation. Document validate, clearly identify the gaps and justify their relevance. You have identified that there is a gap here, there is a possibility for new study here. Then you should be able to justify your finding of research gap. Because normally when we submit a PhD, there should be a proposal. And in that proposal, every student will be, I am going to study this, these are the objectives of my study. Then the expert sitting there will be, why you are studying this objective. So the student has to study the topic thoroughly, then only he or she may be able to justify the need for that study. So that is known as the justifying the relevance. Validate the importance of gap by connecting with the social, scientific and practical needs. So the social benefits of your study, all these will be coming under the justification of, because if you are studying more about the butterflies of Kerala or butterflies of Kottayam, that will be beneficial for finding out why the flowering plants are very few in Kerala, or why agriculture crops are perishing. All this you can explain. So this is known as a validating or substantiating your gaps. Finally, identifying gap is a repetitive, iterative and reflective thinking process. So that is the most important thing. By systematically analyzing the literature, by engaging with other research people, and by staying updated on the recent trends in research, you will be able to uncover or bring forth more research opportunities. So this is an idea of how you can find out the research gap and what are the methods that you can use for identifying the research gap.